Hi, good evening. This is Rob Bell. You're watching Getting the Record Straight. This is our Truth to Power segment. Kind of go over politics, social justice issues that particularly affect black people here in the United States. Welcome. It's Monday evening, the 30th of March. Stay safe, please, people. Still dealing with this virus. It's a worrisome thing. And you really have to do what you can to stay away from people, social distancing, all the things they're talking about right now. And honestly, it's so much to worry about and be concerned about right now. There's no such thing as being too cautious, I think. I want to say, we're certainly sorry to hear about the death a few days ago of Joseph Lowry. He's one of the great civil rights heroes. Talk a lot about people who, risked their lives and limbs uh, during the civil rights struggles in the 50s and 60s. But he was really a giant among them. I don't know if you remember when he gave I guess it was the invocation when Barack Obama was um, inaugurated rather as the president. And he recited the parts of the Black National Anthem. It was just a really great day. He was always a giant and a very courageous man. So we need to give honor to Joseph Lowry. I hope that you've been checking out the music that I put on the YouTube, my YouTube channel. You go to my website, www.blackrocksoul, and you can go on there and press the button for the Black Rock and Soul music website. And of course, if when you want to see the videos here for Getting the Record Straight, there's also a link rather, at the Black Rock and Soul website for our Getting the Record Straight videos. So, here to talk about truth to power, and of course, there's just no shortage of madness that particularly the Republicans just seem to continue to utter and elicit um, every day, every minute of the day. It's not shocking anymore. I remember years ago, Gil Scott Heron, one of his great poems and songs, talked about America being in shock. And I often go back to this issue of what we've normalized. And we're just no longer in shock at the stupidity and madness that particularly comes through from the Republican side, whether it's Trump or any of his minions. But as I've been saying, that this has been going on well before Trump, and just how outrageous American leadership is. It just knows no boundaries. In fact, I think that the acceptance of the outright ignorance of um, many leaders is now really an American value. It's cool for us to, accept this craziness that we see. And you know what, though, I have been promising myself, I want to mention that I please take time to subscribe to this channel, to the Getting the Record Straight channel. It's important. I need to show that, so please take time to do that. I keep forgetting to do it, to mention it, and I need for you all to do that. And I appreciate those of you who have come through and pressed the subscribe button and are watching and sharing with me your insight. Um, as I was saying, there's just so many things going on in terms of just how crazy the leadership is, and those who support the leadership in this country. We've had comments from the lieutenant governor of Texas about how, he's willing to sacrifice his own life, so he says, as well as, other seniors rather, so that the country won't go. to socialism and the economy go under. Let's see, Jerry Falwell Jr. I really would like to say a lot more about him and this whole, um, you know, uh, religious groups rather here in the United States, so-called Christian groups, who are just over the top in terms of their support of Donald Trump and Republicans. That he called his student body back at Liberty University, despite it's in Virginia, I believe, in Lynchburg, Virginia, despite the pleas from the governor there that they not have students on the campus. And it's my understanding that there's already been some students who have contracted the virus. Um, so Jerry Falwell, Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Glenn Beck is running his insane mouth. Ron Johnson, who's a senator from Wisconsin, Republican senator, just insane things that these people have been saying, and it affects really how the world looks at the United States, and it certainly. I don't think the issue of leadership is what it had been anyway, but anyone in their right mind who is listening to these people, including Trump and his cabinet, who's listening to these people can't be. All the stairs don't go to the top. Um, as I've said a number of times, though, um, it's not just this response to the coronavirus. I think when we look at what the United States has done over the years, in terms of war, in terms of sanctions, in terms of proxy wars, in terms of regime change, it's just how much does it have to do before it's indicted by its own people, by us, by its own citizens, as being not competent and not able to lead. You know, the fact that we take so much for granted, the fact that we allow for, don't even speak up and allow for these things to happen. I just think it's so indicative of a country that's, going downhill and really cannibalizing itself. We no longer have a moral authority, if we ever had one. We certainly have none right now. Uh, it's been in the news about what's happened in terms of increasing sanctions on Iran, on Venezuela. We are refocusing on Nicaragua and trying to enact regime change there. All of these things are against international law, and they're all immoral. And this kind of action is not going to be taken lightly by other countries. It's going to come back to haunt us. In fact, a bill was passed by Democrats and Republicans unanimously to support and defend Taiwan. Would you say, that small island nation that China regards as its own, and we are still talking about defending a place halfway around the world as a result of McCarthyite type policies, anti-communist policies that were enacted in 1948, 1949. And we're still talking about that. And at the same time, it's my understanding Trump is seeing now whether he can coordinate things and work things out with China to get some resources and equipment and that kind of thing. But the Congress is passing passing a resolution to support China's not their enemy, but they claim Taiwan as part of their territory. And they've already said that they have a problem with that. Just to look at the history of the things that we've done overseas and around the world. We've been at war for 93% of our existence. The United States has been at war for 93% of its existence. 224 out of 241 years we've been at war. And that's not counting proxy wars or engagements that have enabled the rise of despots and dictators, because we do that. I mean, all you have to think of is Saudi Arabia right now, and just one of the most horrible regimes in the world. And we just sent troops a few months ago over there. So how do you think that's going to work out? But, we've supported regimes from Mobutu in Nigeria, the Shah of Iran. We never talk about that. And certainly the press never talks about how we overthrew that government in Iran, a democratically elected government in 1954. Duvalier was a murderer in Haiti. Him and his son, who we supported year after year, decade after decade. Trujillo in the Dominican Republic, responsible for a number of slaughters of his own people, as well as Haitians in the Dominican Republic. Suharto in Indonesia. As a matter of fact, other than Hitler, it's really hard to think of another leader, dictator, and country that has a worse human rights record and has slaughtered more people than Indonesia. Now, this is one of our allies, and as of the end of the 90s, we had stopped dealing with them and sending them arms and military equipment and that kind of thing because of the murdering and genocide that they were committing against East Timor. But once George Bush got in power, he began to open up dialogue with them and relations with them again. But Somoza in Nicaragua, another dictator, another murderer. We don't even have time to go over all that we have done across the world, and we're still doing it. And we've forgotten all about it, don't care about it, don't speak up about it. And it's this internalizing of, this kind of vile repression that we allow to happen and perpetrate around the world. The fact that we don't do anything about it is, like I said, going to come back and haunt us. And it shouldn't be a surprise to us that our efforts, both here and around the world, continue to fail. Because they're coming from a very dark and evil place. Let's face it, and it might not be a lot of us who are speaking up about the role that the United States has played and it continues to play around the world. But somebody has to. On that note, have a good evening. Please stay safe. Please do what you can to navigate around this virus. And please speak up and speak out. Take care.